Okay, well, let's get this thing going. And I don't know how much I'm going to play of it in front of you and how much I might end up abstracting and backing away. It's hard to tell with a game like this. But let's start off with blue here. Rolls his 3 dice. And his options are 2, 3, and 6. Well, 6 is a nice option. It gives you pieces, but I don't really need pieces. However, if I lay down 2 pieces, having an extra piece will be nice. So that's not a bad roll. I'm not willing to spend $1 on reversing that roll. Money is kind of weird in this game. It's not terribly easy to get. There's a couple of places you can get cash. It has some use in building cities and in wars, along with the little black things, which I guess aren't terribly easy to get either, although they show up a little bit more easily here. And you can always trade for them to get money. But money has more use in the sense that you can spend it for rerolls, which is kind of nice. Alright, let's see what green pulls up. I gotta be careful about rolling on the map. It's fairly fragile. Just came from a magazine or something. 1, 3, 6. That's very similar. I'm not going to say no. Generally, I don't like paying for rerolls. Usually I can figure out something I want to do with my pieces. 2, 6, 6. This may not be so good. So 2 gets me on the board. That's good. How about 2 6s? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pay $1 and I'm going to reroll those 6s. Got a pair of 3s. Maybe I'd have been better off keeping them. Well, I can take a black piece here, lay down 2. You never want to run lower than 3 cubes in your stash. That's the problem. And I re-rolled 2 dice because there's a chance I get a 5 or a 6 and fill out my dice. I wouldn't want to end up with the same roll, essentially, that I just paid to avoid. 2, 3, 6. I don't think there's anything bad about that. Okay, so now we take a look, and green is going to get the first action, and it's automatically, he gets his piece back here, it's automatically, he gets one of these tires. Now we go here, green went last, which means yellow is the next player, so they'll get an option. Now they have 2 options, either place a piece or take a tire. They'll take a tire. I don't know what the hell they're supposed to represent. Red would be next in line. Red can place a piece or take a tire. I'm going to place a piece in the writing space. I've got another placement here. Blue's going to do the same thing. It seems better to get some pieces on the board. Okay, now I've got to remember blue went last because green's going to be the next player to go here. They get to place a piece. They'll go into the writing space. Yellow gets the next one. They get to place a piece. There's no option here. Now yellow just went, so red's next. Red must place a piece. They'll place it here, and they get one of these things. That puts it on blue, same position, gets one of those. And now we're back on yellow, must place, gets one of those. And now we drop down to here. Blue has 2 options. They could either take another piece. They'd get this one back and take another one. Or they could move one of their pieces up to 3 spaces. If I move this piece, 1, 2, then I could move this one, 1, 2, 3, and get a couple of gold. Alternatively, this space doesn't really do anything for me. So I might want to move, I have the option to get one of these cubes. I might want to move 1, 2 and take a cube anyway, or move this and then move that to get a cube anyway so I don't lose that out on the cube. Or I could, go for the gold straight up. So a lot of different options there. The reroll is a nice thing to hold on to. I'm going to take myself another cube, and I get this because that was the action I took. I just get it back in my pool. And now last but not least, we got a couple of these. Green gets another piece, and red gets another piece. And that's 1 quick time around. I'm going to glue these together because now that I use the YouTube video editor more, it's not really a hassle for me. All right, let's take a look at the next turn. 3, 3, 1. Now I have this bonus reroll. Let's take a look at what that gives me. It gives me 2 placements and a black. You know what? I'm going to reroll a 3 and a 1. I'll keep one of the 3s. I want a placement. And I get a 2 and a 6. And I'm good with that. That puts me up. I shouldn't have gone with him though. There's not going to be any real harm to it, but let's do green next. I just don't want to rethink that position. Green should have this marker at this point. I came in and forgot what was going on. Okay, 1, 2, 4. There is some ability to screw with other people, but this early in the game it's not too big a deal. 1, 2, 4. That's not a bad mix. I definitely want 4. I want 2. Do I want 1? I'm going to re-roll 1. Again, I have the writing. And I get a 6, which is probably what I actually wanted. Well, 5 would have been better because it gives me options. Over to Yeller. 6, 4, 2. Now I only have 3 pieces. I definitely want this. That's okay, that's okay. I'll stick with that. And over here to red. Now I should be rolling blue after red, but I'm not too worried. 3, 4, 5. Everybody's in here actually, so everybody gets a freebie. 3, 4, 5. That's a pretty good mix. I don't terribly want to re-roll that. You gotta kind of watch and see that you can get money in black stuff, but you know, you don't have to necessarily get it from here, you can get it from the board. So now we start things off. Nobody's in the first pace. Green is going to go first because they have the first player marker. So they now have the option. Now this is the only place where they're going to get to place a piece. So I'm going to place this piece and take myself another black thing. Yellow will be going next. Only place yellow gets to place a piece. I've got a problem. I've got to be getting another piece. But luckily I have one that I'm going to be getting. So I'm going to place here. That gives me a 3 movement. This is kind of a neat place to be. So I'm going to move this guy. 1, 2, 3. I could either get a piece or I could get 2 coins. I'm going to do the jump ahead and grab myself 2 coins. Going all the spaces forward. I guess blue is next. I could either take a place or a black. I'll take the placement. That gets me 2 coins as well. Come back through here. Blue just went, so red's next. They get to place. Not a lot of options in terms of where to place, but now there's options in terms of what to do. Again, I'm going to leave here because that's useful. The first time I played, I got out of that space right away. That's not a good idea. It's a free money a turn, basically. 1, 2, 3. Do I need more pieces? See, I could shove this ahead for 1 and then move this up to 3. 1. This low victory point isn't too valuable. I'm probably not going to get to keep it in this game. Question is whether I want 2 coins or I want an extra piece. I'm going to take an extra piece at this point. That gives me some flexibility so that I don't have to take the piece here. And now blue gets to place again. I don't have a lot of options. The question is, do I want to buy this? Sure. It's not worth a lot. Maybe nobody will knock me out of it because in order to knock me out, they have to pay a piece back here. And when I played this 2-player, you knock somebody out of it, you're almost assured to get it. But in more than 2, using a war may not be terribly valuable. You may be handing the space over to someone else. So that 2 victory point might be worthwhile. Puts us here. That's going to be green because they come after blue. They get a movement of up to 3. What do I want? I'm getting another piece, so I'll just take some gold because I like money. Yellow. Yellow gets a 3-space movement. Again, I may not want to leave here. I could move here and collect more gold. I can have more than one piece in a space. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to go here. I am getting another piece. I don't terribly need that, but I have a decent amount of gold. I could move this guy. 1, 2. This allows you to spend to change a die roll. That's not terribly valuable in my view. So I'm going to go up here and grab myself 2 of these black pieces. Remember, those are victory points at the end of the game, 1 per 3, so they've got some value. That was this guy. Red gets a move. I'll move here and grab myself 2 gold. Red gets another. They have a choice between a piece and a move. I've got more than the pieces than I need. What could a move do me? A move could do me some cool stuff like 1, 2, 3, collecting a couple of blacks, and being in the lead on the chart. What's nice about being on the lead on the chart is eventually you might be the guy who gets to decide when the game ends. Also, more valuable stuff comes out later in terms of the victory point spaces, and if you can outrun everyone else, you can grab victory point spaces and they can't be taken away from you. Although again, I think there's going to be less violence in a 2-player game in terms of the wars and such, or in a 4-player game than there would be in a 2-player game. Blue's got next option after red. They're just going to get their straight up piece. Same with green and yellow. And that puts us around again, and this time we'll remember to move this so we don't make the mistake that we did when we come back. Okay, let's start another round. We got yellow here with the first player marker. 2, 3, 6. Now everybody's still got that option. This is a place, and an extra piece. That sounds fairly good, although I may take the black piece instead. Do I want to re-roll that? Well, there are things I would rather have. Is there anything I would less rather have? No. So I think I'll re-roll that too. I get a 4, which gives me a move, which I like better. Over here, red. Two, 4, 5. 2, 4, 5. Well, I definitely like 5. 4 is good. This looks like a good set of options, really. Blue. 2, 5, 6. 2, 5, 6. Also looks like a good set of options. I don't see any reason to risk getting something worse than any of those. And then green. Green's got a lot of pieces. 1, 2, 5. This is going to give me a placement, which I definitely want. This gives me a movement, which I like. I don't really need a black thing, so I'm going to use my ability. I only can re-roll once to re-roll, and I end up with something that's probably even less desirable to me. I could spend a gold to prevent that, but you know, resources are resources, whatever kind they are. Collecting them is fine. Okay. Now we start working our way down. This is our first player, so red is going to go first out of this slot. Red gets either a black piece, he's got tons of those, or a placement. I'm not going to have another placement, so I'll put this here. And each of my turns I could exchange a resource for a coin or vice versa. Got kind of a nice balance of both. Yeah, I think I took this from that pool instead of, should come off of here. I think I'll change one for a coin. Coins are a little bit more potentially valuable, but we'll see. They're about equal. Blue is going to be next. Blue gets to place. Well, they might as well. Getting more pieces on the board is of some use. Mainly, I'm replacing it, so it doesn't really cost me anything, and I'm pushing my way up a little bit. I don't know how much I want to use that. Green is also going to be able to do things, so they too will place. This is not a terribly useful place to be placed, but again, it puts an extra piece on the board. That's always of some value, I guess. It might not be, because, you know, I'm getting rid of stock to do that. I would rather just move than that place. I should be thinking more carefully. Yellow here gets to place, and they could also make a trade. Seems like a good one. Get a gold. Gold is potentially more valuable, I guess. Now we slip back down, and red will have to go before yellow. Now, here's where I have lots of options. First of all, I could jump out of my reroll, but I don't want to do that unless I need to. So, like, I could get free movement off of it. 1, 2, 3. I don't see anything terribly I want there. Here I could grab another a city for myself. I could get the 3-point victory points, which is better than the other guy has. I could also blast someone out of something. But again, I think when you're playing in 4 players, taking the war action, unless somebody's clearly in the lead, is kind of not terribly valuable. Alternatively, I could go 1, 2, and then move this 1, 2, and then buy that for a couple of gold and a resource, and grab myself the victory point space. And that was this piece. Yellow gets a move now. Getting second place, you know, in each of these, or worse, seems kind of iffy. Maybe I want to forge ahead better than I'm doing. I'll open up with 1, 2. This is this piece. And now I can move another 3. I could grab a pile of gold. I too am going to claim, though. We'll see how things go. Maybe by being tied for second, I'm in a better position towards, you know, winning the game or something. That was yellow that just went. That means red is the next player over on this space. And I got a choice between moving or taking a piece. I got enough pieces, so do I want to move? 1, 2, 3. I could buy another city here. That ties down good pieces, and that's always an iffy choice, but I'm going to do that and just try to run ahead with the victory. Now the danger there, of course, is someone may start shooting my pieces because of that. And that leaves me with the 3 pieces that I need. That puts it on blue. Blue says I have 1, 2, and a third piece here. So I'm going to take a movement action. What am I going to do with my movement action? Again, I like that space. I don't want to just give it up for nothing. I can't leave here without losing my victory points. So 1, 2, 3, that allows me to move more pieces and gets me some quick movement forward that I kind of like doing. Beyond that, gold or black stuff. 1, 2, 3, I'll take 2 black stuff and end up with more resources that way. Puts it on green. Green gets to move. They're going to get an extra piece, so they don't really need to do that. This city is useless, but so is this. 1, 2, 3. I'll get myself a couple more black pieces. Now I could have moved further ahead with this piece up to the trade space. Would that be valuable? Maybe. But I think grabbing more resources is better than that. And then we have these which just score an extra cube each. And the rules refer to them as cubes, so that's what I'm doing, but we know they're actually really squares because they're not really in 3 dimensions. Alright, okay, I have to apologize, I'm on a tether right now and I don't really like that, the electrical cord. Let's start with red, see what they're doing. Everybody's holding on to that first space. That, you know, it wastes a piece, and there are people like, everybody's got a decent amount of pieces on the board. First time I played, maybe this wasn't quite as, it didn't feel as clear, sort of the what to do's. It was more of a puzzle to solve. And that's kind of one of the things I'm worried about, is that this is really not something you're going to see a lot of playings out of. But then again, it's just a little magazine Euro type thing. What do you expect? I don't terribly like this combination. This gives option. I'm going to re-roll the 1, but just the 1. And I get stuck with it. So I'm going to end up with a lot of black pieces, is what my guess is. This kind of sucks because now I don't have to take this action, but it means my next turn, if I do take it, and I probably will, I'm only going to have 2 pieces to play, because the things that generate you more pieces from here down, well, first of all, I only have 2 pieces for the die roll, and then the things that generate more pieces are towards the end of the turn. I guess that doesn't matter. Let's see, blue, and the tether's really hurting my hand. 1, 4, 5. 5 I definitely want, that gets me a piece. 4 is a move, that's nice. 1, I don't really need those, so I'll re-roll that. And again, that's the bonus of having that. Now, if after wasting a piece here, and I can never get a second piece here, that's why it's important to stay there. Then I can, and the reason is you can only move forward. You can only place ahead of your pieces and forward. But I can eventually get more spaces here. And that's why you don't leave the writing ability. So I re-roll that, I get another 5. It's fine to have multiple of the same one. It'll give me an extra piece, and then I can do 2 moves. That's pretty sweet. On to green. 1, 2, 6. I don't terribly need pieces. I don't terribly need black. So I'm going to re-roll the 1 and the 6. Just keep the 2. That's, you know, who knows what I'll get. I get another 2, and I get a 4. And that looks better to me. And then over here for yellow, 1, 4, 6. Let's see what that looks like. I definitely need the piece. Movement's nice. I'm going to re-roll that 1. I don't really need more resources. I have a couple of those. It's not terrible if I get it. It's just I tend to get them by moving pieces or placing pieces. I like that better. It just seems like you get a better payoff. Like if you move or place a piece, you get 2. Whereas these, you get 1. And that just doesn't work out as economical. Of course, it's harder to get to these, but it's not terribly hard. Alright, so red gets a black, and they don't have any option on the matter. And then we come down here. Green's going to go next. Green has a black or a place. I will place. Yeah, that was out of here. And now I just got a trade. I'm going to be able to get a black next time, or I could do a place again. The problem with doing a second place is I'm running out of pieces. I only have 2 pieces here on the board. I'm hoping with my move to get another piece. I don't know, that doesn't look very likely. I'm going to trade my black in for a gold because I'm going to be able to get a black black next time. Now you're allowed to do those that many times in a turn. That's a whole sequence of actions. So he's not going to be able to do that again. And he's got to kind of remember that. You could push these down to remind you or something like that. So that puts it back to red here. Does red want to spend to place on the board? Definitely not. So they'll take another black. They're kind of low on pieces, remember. And now green's going to be low on pieces as well. And now green gets to go. Oh, green actually has two here. So they can save themselves by taking one of these. Alternatively, they could move something, like they could move this forward and grab another piece. Again, I consider that space too worthwhile to ever leave. Maybe at the very end. And now we're back to red here. Red must place on the board if they want to use this piece. They figure they might as well, even though it means less dice next turn. If they don't do it, it means less dice this turn, essentially. So, blue is going to go next. They come after red there. So they get a move. I generally like to move my early pieces first. I could blast this away. I've got another move up here and grab one of these. That's an intriguing idea. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'll spend one of these to get rid of this red piece. Now that's a destroyed. That's not specified in the rules, but I believe that's what's intended. It doesn't go back to your available pool. Oh, that was blue's action. After blue comes green. Well, green has a move. They can grab this. No problem for them. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and they'll buy it. And that was a reason not to do a war action, because somebody else is going to get in there before you do. You got to be more clever than I was there. Yellow gets a move action. Well, they're not going to get the next action here, which is a move. So they don't want to set this up for blue. So they're not going to go to war with someone in particular. 1, 2, 3. A gold and a black. And they buy themselves a victory point space. And come off the board here. We go here. Blue has to go next. And if blue had done things right, instead of moving here, they could have moved 1, 2, 3 and bought this. They were idiots trying to use the war mechanism. It does not work when somebody else is set up to use it in front of you. So now what? I don't particularly need another cube. I'll take myself some cash. Not that I really need cash either. Now, yeah, there's no way of using this correctly to fix that issue. So that puts it back on yellow. Yellow could, yeah, they don't want to move here. They don't want to move here. They've got a move action or take another cube on the table. They've got a bunch here. What happens if they move here? Well, there's no harm if they do this, because then they get that cube anyway, and a little bit of advanced movement, which seems a better deal than anything else. It leaves me open to continue forward on some of these others. That puts me back to blue. Blue's got another move action. I might as well push forward for 1. Is there somebody I feel is in the lead? I think yellow is kind of doing well. I don't know if I want to expend an effort to blast them out of the way, though. Blast one of their pieces. But this space is not terribly useful to me. I don't want to just keep taking money. This could be valuable. A coin to kind of guarantee what your die roll is like. Alright, let's go forward to that. See if we can use that well. Alright, and then yellow is going to get yet another piece. This moves, the dice move, and I get to put the camera down. It looks like we're about halfway through, and we're just in terms of position of the pieces. Remember, it ends when we hit here. But there might be some jockeying where the lead player needs to get some more victory points and is unwilling to push into that space. This is a valuable space though, and pushing ahead may be enough to get you kind of the win. Let's see what blue can do with our dice. 1, 1, 3. That does not look like a good die roll set to me. Do I want to just re-roll everything, or do I want to hold on to this to place another piece? I'm going to re-roll the bunch using my free re-roll. 3, 3, 4. Well, this is actually worse because I'm getting 2 forced placements. I don't have to take them. I mean, they're not absolutely forced, but that's all I can do with this turn. And there's little reason not to take an advantage, even though maybe being down to 1 die is pretty crappy. And I'm probably going to look to see if there's some place I can get. And what I'd like is to get one of these squares, but unless I jump out of there, I'm not going to get one. Alright. Over to green. And you can see, I mean, to some extent, you know what? Maybe blue wants to spend $1 to re-roll. Blue's going to spend $1, and they're going to re-roll 2 of these 3s. I think I held on to a 3. It gives me 2, 5. This is much better. Much, much better. I can place a piece and replace it. So that's good. Okay, on to green. Yeah, I'm sure green had a better roll, or a worse roll, or something. C'est la vie. 1, 5, 6. That allows me to grow a piece. That black thing, I don't know if I really need that. I have a whole pile of those. I'm going to re-roll the 1. I get a 2. A little more option. We'll go with that. That lets me stay even in terms of pieces, and I got an excess anyway. Yellow. If you have a lot of pieces, it may not be as necessary to have the re-roll. I'm not sure. 1, 4, 6. So I've got no real threats here. Now for me, a black piece isn't necessarily that bad a thing. A move and one of these is not bad. I can get 2 black pieces. Well, no, not in the near future. But I'm going to re-roll that. I don't like just getting a single resource. That seems weak. So we end up down here. A lot of movement capability, which we need because our pieces are up here. These guys are sitting on victory points, and we don't really want to move them. Over to red, 1, 4, 5. Now red's got a problem. They've only got 2 pieces available. 4 gives me a move. That's good. 5 gives me a choice of a piece and a move. We probably want a piece. We're good. We go to the top of the order, and blue is the first player, so they get the first shot. Now, did I want to play this? Yeah, I do. Certainly better than taking 1 piece, because I'm going to get to replace that further down here if I so desire. Green gets to place or take a black. They definitely want to place. They get to place in the war space. They could knock someone off this way. They could play somewhere else, but this is they want to get the advanced piece. No harm in knocking someone out of the game, out of a position at this point. The question is, 2 points for yellow or 2 points for blue. Yellow's got another city location, so I'm going to knock them out and take their piece off the board. Puts us down here. Green just went. That means yellow gets a move. Oh, they don't have a lot of pieces available. We'll get moving on the front. 1, we don't need gold. 2, we can't take that. 3, we'll go all the way to the religion space. That means red gets the next move. There's no resources I really need. If I move here, I could move this ahead 3. That's kind of neat. I think I'll do that. The other option is, of course, to push further forward. But I kind of like getting multiple pieces into a forward position. And who knows, maybe this will be of some use to me. That puts me to blue. And blue gets a move. Well... Jeez, I could have used this. I can never remember to use that, though. 1, 2, 3, I can move something else, since I don't remember that anyway. Do I want more rerolls? So these rerolls don't cost me anything in the short run, but in the long run they do. I think I'm gonna, if I can afford it, jump over here and take the big valued space there, grabbing victory points. This is not unappealing. Like we saw, I needed a second reroll, but I'd probably forget about it, just like I forget about the bonus that I could have taken there. And yellow gets a move. Clearly, yellow doesn't want to move here, because doing so would only allow them to move something they could move anyway. So they're going to just shift 1 forward, which isn't too appealing in a lot of ways. You kind of want to push forward more quickly, but I've got a good lead unit here that I can draw off of, so getting the resources seems more valuable at this point. Puts me down here. Red is the next player after yellow, so they get to go. And they either get an extra piece or a move. Well, I want the extra piece because I don't have enough pieces for my dice. Blue, extra piece or move, same decision. You know, there's some possibility. For example, I could move a piece to here if this wasn't sitting on a victory point space and get my extra piece anyway, right? Here, extra piece or move. I don't really need a piece terribly much, and I'd like to push this forward. 1, 2, grab some gold, or 3, push another piece. I can push this piece, and I could take a city, or I could go war someone. Well, I got away after having knocked someone out. I'm going to score that city. It's not a permanent score, but it's of some value. That means yellow gets the next one, and they get kind of boned into a piece. They've got a hell of a pool there, and green also. That moves this. And I think we'll take a little break. Nice to do something small like this and still take breaks, but you know, the whole game takes like less time than a turn of the last thing I was doing, last chance for victory. On with green. 2, 2, 4. Now, let me see if I can remember red having that. 2 placements, I can do that. Or take that. And a move. That's a kind of nice roll. Now let me see, do I want all of this? 2 placements will drop me down to 2 pieces, so I do kind of need another piece. I'm going to re-roll this deuce, because I might get something more useful. And I get a forced placement. Well, worst comes to worst, I can take a black piece, but we'll see. Yellow. And yeah, I'm playing it all out. I don't know if there's anything to this game except the decisions that you make. It's, you know, it doesn't have a story that I can relate to. I could say, oh look, somebody moved further on the track. Not very interesting though. I got lots of yellow, lots of placement opportunities. I'm going to take them. Do I want this? See, I got a whole slew of more pieces there, so I'm going to take a reroll on my 6. Hopefully I won't get another placement. Yeah, I do. That's a forced placement. I still have 3 pieces, so I'll probably take them all, but I was really kind of hoping for a move there. Red's got the buy a move in the dice. 1, 3, 4. Now, I'm short on pieces, and it looks to me like I'm not getting any. I'm going to free reroll the 1, and I get a 5, which is what I wanted, so I don't have to, I mean, I could use a 6, but this gives me the ability to recharge after I place a piece, so I'm good on that. I like placing pieces. Here I'm not even really worrying about the board situation, just sort of the economy of my pieces, my cubes, which that's mainly how I play, so that's what you're seeing. I think a cleverer player would be worrying more about the board as well, but I feel like that kind of takes care of itself. 3 and a pair of 5s. Okay, well, these are good rolls. I'll go with that. Now we sweep down. Green's got first player, so theirs is going to go first. I don't want to play 2 of these particularly. Unless I can get... Yeah, I could get a piece by playing there. Alright, I'll just play. We'll go for trying to move along more quickly, because we have a lot of victory points already. So we're in kind of nice shape. That means yellow. Yellow's placing 3. That may be extreme, but I've got a decent number of these. Let's kind of blow our wad this time. That means red's placement is next. Grab money, or I could grab mining. I'll take the more advanced position. Blue. Must place if I want to do anything. See, blue has a pile of money. I could grab this mining. I'm not really in good shape victory point wise. That's one of the problems here. I'm going to grab the mining, get a couple of pieces. That'll give me more income that I can use towards buying some of these later cities or wars or whatever. It means green is actually next, and yellow will get a double play. Green wants to place. I could pick off a blue piece. That's not going to do me any good. Yeah, I'll put there. That's some victory points if I have the most cubes there at the end. And that means yellow gets 2 placements, and they have no problem doing that. They'll place 1 here. That gives them a 3 movement forward. That gives me a 3 movement forward with this one. And I'll hit the mining and get a couple of these. I could have pushed more forward, but I don't have a lot of victory points built up, so I don't necessarily want to escalate at this point. Not that it helps anyone else, it would just be escalating my position. Now that leaves me with another piece. Do I want to grab some gold? I got a decent amount. I'll just keep going for the distance here. It means movement. Red gets first move. What are my options? I could trigger more movement with that. That's always kind of cool to get that double move because I'm shifting things along. But then the question is, look, it might be helpful to have people back here. It's not terribly necessarily better to push forward. 1, 2, 3, 2 black and a gold. And these counters are used for multiple games. Like I said, I got a pack of 3 with these counters. All right, green gets a move as well. I no longer have the most cubes here, so maybe that's not so valuable anymore. There's not a lot available to me back here that I really need. So 1, 2. See, do I want to pay to take this or not? Because if I want the extra reroll for the buck, I could just bank that at this point. I think I'll do that. So now I have an extra reroll down here, and I'll be getting 2 a turn for free. That's pretty neat. Oh, red's going to be going next, and they get either another piece, which they need, so we'll take that. And then blue gets another piece. Do I want to do a move with the other one? See, this is kind of a dead zone here. I've got Empire, which is nice to have. Library, which if I pay for it could be useful. And that's about it. What I'd like to do is place a piece here and then do some movement there. So I am going to actually burn this on yet another piece just to build up my reserves. And that pushes us over to yellow.